What is up, my brothers and sisters? So there's a lot of earthquakes, um, as expected. The ground's shaking pretty good. You can see here there's quite the uptick, especially Japan. I was looking at Japan earlier, and oh my, there's a lot of earthquakes going on over there. Let's see if they'll pull up right now. Let's see. Wow, 5.8. So far, the strongest I see here. 5.6. I mean, well, bam. And then there's a amazing show of power as far as a hurricane going on in India. And I made this video the other day, but I didn't know how to word it, and I'm still kind of freestyling this as I go. So bear with me. But it's like the other day I was watching somebody's channel, and there was like a big old circle here at the south of the border, and they were like weather manipulation, and I just think it's funny because I've been watching this same pattern for like 2 years now. And if that was weather manipulation, it ain't done nothing yet until now. So I can assure you, it's not weather manipulation. As I've said before, I think people give man way too much credit because one thing I can assure you is that the thing that man does have is lies, deception. Yeah, they want you. I get it. There's documents, there's hard 5G, blah, blah, blah. But on a mass scale in every country, and that's like with all the warehouse fires and the derailments, right? Like everybody's like freaking out over that. And I'm like, no, it's actually average, right? Like you never paid attention to it until now. And now that you're paying attention to it, you're like, oh my God, right? And it's like, man, that stuff happened all the time. You just never noticed because, like, how often do you care about choo choo trains? Like, how often do you care about, like, warehouse fires? Like, you never gave a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, why should you care now? You know what I mean? Like, that's been happening, right? And it's like, it's funny because I see all these people, like, still posting this stuff. Another train derailment, except nothing happened except a bunch of grain fell into the water. And it's like, boo hoo. That stuff happens all the time. You just never paid attention to it until they started bringing it to your attention. You know what I mean? So it's like, why should you worry about it now? You weren't worried about it last year, the year before that, the year before that, and 10 years ago when it was like happening all the time. And the reason why I also know this is because I used to have a girlfriend that her dad worked as like a cleanup crew. So basically they show up with like bulldozers, like cranes and stuff like that. And I mean, because like, how are you supposed to pick up these carts full of like material that weigh like, what I mean? The cart itself weighs like, I don't know, and then you got all that added weight. And it's like, that's a lot of cleanup, whether it's oil, gas, chemicals, lumber, cattle, cars, right? Like it makes a mess. Trust me. And you can look at history and you can see all the train derailments that have caused major accidents. I mean, there's a bunch. There's not just Ohio. No, there's like a bunch. It's not the first time, and it definitely won't be the last. you know, and that's like living by the ocean. Hopefully, the hurricane doesn't come your way, right? Well, if you live by the train tracks, hopefully the train don't crash in your town, right? I mean, because and how long ago they built these tracks? Like 100 years ago? Yeah, they kind of need an update and an upgrade and somebody to maintain them, and there's just not enough power or people to care enough to do that. You know what I mean? And then there's like the border crisis. That's a crock of shit. They say there's like a bunch of influx of migrants. Nah, I think it's the same amount that would have come here anyways. It's just that everything's so backed up from the stupid sickness that nobody cares about anymore. That now they find themselves all trying, and it doesn't matter which side you're on. You could be in America and you've been lied to. Everything's a lie, man. Everything's deception. And I've said that since the beginning and still say that now. Don't believe the lies. All of it's lies. All of it's deception, lies, distractions. That's all it is, man. Here we've been lied to, and I can guarantee you all the migrants have been lied to. And I say, if it were up to me, I say let them in. And the reason why I say let them in is because you're going to find yourself wanting to get the hell out, maybe. And, you want that relationship to be cordial. You know what I mean? And then it's like, what about all these kids walking out of school because they're like, look at the gun laws, and it's like, well, what your sign should really say is, please don't send us to World War III, Biden. You know what I'm saying?